Hey there, everyone. It is another episode of Hardcourt Honeys. We got Jade over here coming up from the north in Canada giving her hot takes. And then we got Penny coming all the way south from Florida going to be giving her also hot takes with. And then you got me, TJ, today just trying to separate them, make sure it all goes smoothly with it all. So for this week, our topic we're thinking of is right now, there's a real tight race in that Western Conference positioning. So we'll get to that big topic for the time, and then we will also at the end hit some fast break questions upcoming All-Star Weekend. Since it's coming right around the corner, maybe we should hear our takes on it. So okay, so let's just dive right into it. So right now, currently, the San Antonio Spurs hold the 8th seed, but just a half a game above the Grizzlies, and then just another 2.5 games to Portland and Phoenix. So just between that 8th seed, there's 2.5 games. Oklahoma City's at 10 games, so they're 5 games ahead of them. So they're kind of out of the picture. So San Antonio, Penny, do you think San Antonio, knowing the history of that franchise and the coach, do you think San Antonio is going to be able to hold this spot with a 20-23 record?
I believe they do. They're in a 3-winning game streak, so I think they could do it.
Do you think that DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge can lead that team into the playoffs, though?
That team into the playoffs? No. I don't think they have it in them.
You don't have it? Okay. All right. And then, Jay, who do you think? I'll flip that question to you. Do you think San Antonio is going to make it?
So the reason that I can't count them out is because they're San Antonio. Because Pop's there. Because by experience, they are the 4th most experienced roster in the NBA as of November 1st. And I don't think they've made any trade moves. So it's hard to say. I think they're older than a couple of the teams that are on their heels, the Grizzlies specifically. But there's something to be said for an organization that has 22 straight playoff appearances. It's hard for me to say they're not going to make it.
If you got Greg Popovich in your corner, your leader, it's for me. I have such a soft spot for Greg Popovich. So even if they're a 10th seed at the end, I still see them pulling through with it. But right now, considering Portland is going through some injuries right now, McCollum's out for a little bit. Nurkic is still out. He won't be back until probably after All-Star game, I think. So if they can get healthy, that's a killer squad. But they got to get healthy. I think Terry Stotts is also with right now. Portland's playing. I think he's on the hot seat with it. He goes from Western Conference Finals to being 10th overall in the Western Conference, of being at 19-27.
I'll say this for the Trailblazers. I want them not in the playoffs because last season they screwed up my bracket royally. So I don't want to have to deal with them again this year.
Well, I guess that's one way to look at it, messing up the brackets personal level with it.
My whole bracket was perfect except for the half of the Western Conference that the Trailblazers were in.
I don't think they're going to make it to the playoffs.
I want them to because I'm such a Damian Lillard fan, but I'm looking at I see the way it's set up, and like I said, Oklahoma City is 5 games ahead of them. So I think the top 7 seeds are kind of set. How they are lined up, that'll be a different situation.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some shuffling in where they end up, but it looks
these top 7
clear.
Are going to be locked in.
Yeah, for sure.
With the Lakers, Jazz, Clippers, Nuggets, Mavs.
Like, unless something absolutely catastrophic happens to, like, the Thunder or the Rockets.
Which, with the Rockets nowadays, that's an interesting thing on its own. They're a whole other topic right there. I'm surprised with Oklahoma City coming up too. As much as I'm not the biggest Chris Paul fan, he's really whipped this team in shape, and they're actually pretty fun to watch. Which
they are.
No, who's the young guy that they got traded in?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
That's it. The guy with the longest last name.
He's Canadian, so
he's been doing real great. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he had a triple-double where it was 20 points, 20 rebounds, and like 11 assists or something like that. So that's nice to actually. I didn't see that one coming, but
he can ball a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And Memphis though coming in at the 9th spot, only being a half game behind San Antonio for it. That one is a very big surprise, but
it is.
Morant he's killing it. He
Yeah,
is fun to watch, and he is showing that he's a leader already. Man, if I could have that killer leadership on my Timberwolves.
This is going to be an ongoing lamentation, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be the entire season. It's just gonna be...
Oh, man, it's a long season, too.
Yeah, and
we're halfway through, Penny.
Yeah, you guys just have to make it to the end of the season. While me, I don't even know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
You're not going to make it.
Watching the rest of the season, watching them. It's tough. It's real tough right now.
You know what's funny? I don't recognize half of these players on the OKC.
No, yeah. Okay.
That's how young they are.
Yeah, exactly. And then they got Chris Paul. And then I've always been a Steven Adams fan, and he's really stepped up his game for it, too. So that's helping out. But then with also another sleeper team with it all. It's still a couple games back, 2.5 games back, but they're right up there with Portland with that. Phoenix Suns. I thought they would be bottom of conference again, but they got that right combo of vets. Jay, what do you think with Phoenix actually being in this situation, considering for how much of a bottom feeder team they've been for a good minute now?
Yeah, I don't think the Suns are going to be in it. I think by maybe a month after the All-Star break, I think there's going to be a bit of a shift.
You think by that March time they're out?
Yeah, like their second least experienced roster in the league. And end of season is kind of when that tends to start to show, when the pressure's on to fight for that playoff spot. So I don't think based on that they're going to do it. My other thing I have to consider is Zion Williamson being back. The Pelicans
they're right there too.
I've said all season that they are a better team than their record.
Oh, they are.
And if Zion continues to play the way he did in his debut, I don't think it's out of the question that they make it a fight for that 8th seed too.
Well, JJ Redick made sure all of them knew he did not want his streak of consecutive playoffs to get ruined. So they have the talent there. Ingram's killing it. I really hope he gets the All-Star team. If he doesn't, I have him most improved player this year. That's a little side note. That's my early pick, by the way. Most improved player, Brandon Ingram. That quiet assassin that I wish Andrew Wiggins was.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. It gets so frustrating. I'm seeing all these teams that are so close to getting in the playoffs, and then there I am, 13th. I don't know how there's teams worse than us when I really watch it. Sacramento.
The Warriors.
Warriors is a G League team. I want to see this current roster. Take off D'Angelo Russell because he's like a legitimate star. Take him off, and have G League All-Stars play the Golden State Warriors. Also, I'd want to do that. G League All-Stars.
I still think the Warriors will win.
You think the Warriors would still pull that one off?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'd pay money for it. I'd pay $15 to go see that game. I'd pay $15 if I was lower level. Why not? I get to see borderline NBA talent go play at each other.
That's just mean.
I'm saying this borderline NBA team. I'm not saying they're not good. I mean, I'm just
they're in the NBA for a reason, and they were supposed to be riding the end of the bench this season, and things went terribly wrong.
No, yeah. I feel so lucky. If I were a Golden State Warrior bench player, I would have felt so lucky about this season. But like, wait, I can play now, actually?
And play a lot.
They're going to be able to stay in that next year once they get that team fully healthy with it all. Do you see any of these teams making a trade for that final push? Penny, do you see San Antonio doing something, mixing it up? Or do you see Memphis trading a piece to get that last final spot jump up? Do you see any kind of movement when it comes to roster-wise with the teams?
Not with the Spurs, but I see a movement with the Grizzlies.
What do you see with the movement with the Grizzlies? What's something that you think or possibly with them?
What I think they need like a veteran player that could lead, because they have a bunch of young players right now.
Yes, they do,
and they have the potential.
They need that vet leader.
Exactly.
Who do you think right now that is possibly on the trading block or is available in free agency? Do you think that would fit there for that leadership role?
That's a good question. You gotta put me on the spot, Taylor.
We can dish that one over to Jade, see what she can. She's been sitting there all quiet, trying to avoid the questions.
Who's avoiding questions? Clearly you don't know me very well.
Well, you're sitting there all nice and quiet out there. I'm waiting for something
I'm trying not to interrupt. Jeez, I'm just being polite. I'm Canadian.
You're Canadian.
I love this. There you go.
I mean, I can pull out my Jamaican snarky side if you like that better.
Oh, wow.
Yes, please. I know it too well.
But
go for it, Jane.
I personally don't think the Grizzlies need to make a trade.
What about that dead weight of Andre Iguodala? He's sitting there. He doesn't want to play.
That's an exception. But, like, how stupid must he feel right now watching them play the way they're playing?
Yeah, honestly,
and he decided I don't want to play. Like,
I would be like, tag me in.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to be in on that fun. Be like Vince Carter.
I don't even know why he wanted the trade. I assumed it's because he thought they weren't going to be any good.
Probably.
But, like, they're not an organization with lots of drama, and they're playing really well, so I don't really understand his reasoning behind trade me right now.
Yeah, they're a good wholesome franchise.
Yeah.
I like, and it's one of those smaller franchises that I got the soft spot for, while you big franchises take over the league.
I wonder why he didn't do what CP3 is doing.
Doing what CP3?
Andre.
Well, he won't have the. It's hard to be the main leader when you're not the one on the court all the time. I wouldn't see him starting on that squad, on that Memphis squad.
But I could still lead the second unit.
Exactly, that's a matter of attitude. Like, Vince Carter is not the leader on the floor, but you know damn well he's a leader in the locker room.
Right.
That is very true. He's just a guy that wants to teach the game and likes to play it. Gotta love a guy.
Yeah, he wants to be around it as long as possible.
I hope when he's done, I hope he does some kind of commentary or something. Maybe he does his own thing, like Area 21, like they did with Garnett on TNT, which I love Garnett, but that was rough for me to watch.
There goes the Minnesota sightings.
Yep, exactly. Of course it was. Do you see? Whatever. Do you see Portland? I feel like Portland's got pieces that they could trade off, to move some things. Like, do you see little rumors? Kevin Love going to Portland. Portland trading some picks there, trading away Hassan Whiteside to match contracts and everything. Do you see that as a possibility? Because that's been humming around since the off season. Jade, do you see that kind of idea going through? It's a big man that can shoot the three.
I think it's the kind of thing that they might do. Clearly, they have to do something because they're in 10th. And as they are constructed right now, I don't see them making that push to get past the Grizzlies and Spurs. Whether it's Kevin Love or not, I still don't know if I'm sold on that idea. We talked about that a little bit last week. But they're going to have to do something, I think. I don't think they can rely on being that team that makes that crazy second half push every year.
They get spoiled with the way Damian Lillard plays in clutch.
Yeah.
They get real spoiled.
And that's just not going to happen. You can't count on that. Can't be your strategy to get to the playoffs.
Because if he gets injured, which he's always good for a couple of games out with an injury,
or even if he gets cold. Shooters get cold.
True. There's that cold.
It's only a matter of time.
You can't be cold in the playoffs.
No.
Look, i.e. Houston Rockets. Shots fired. You have 3-point chucking team. Is it good team ball when you chuck up 50 3-pointers and you make 17, 18?
Hey, you're not going to get any arguments from us on this.
No, it's not team ball.
That's just, I see that, and Mike D'Antoni, his system, it might be fun to watch, but it's not a system that's going to get you a ring.
Fun to watch is also pretty debatable in present company.
Depending. True. I mean, I preferred his Steve Nash led team in Phoenix.
Yeah, but you had Steve Nash, who one of his best skills was passing.
That was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now you're running the offense through a guy
who's great at passing, but his biggest asset is scoring.
Passing to himself.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Passing to who?
I watched a game the other night with him where he had the ball from the 22-second mark on the shot clock.
Of course he did.
And he dribbled it out in one spot, and he didn't put up a shot. And I was like, okay, that looks like you purposely just stopped playing. You glitched out on 2K right there, James. But so, do we see any of these teams? Do you see, say, a Houston or Oklahoma City? Do you see a collapse from them at all? Just because, especially with Houston, James isn't having a terribly efficient year. Russell Westbrook I think he is a superstar player at the beginning of his decline. His efficiency for the past 3 years has gone down every year. Stats are great, but efficiency, it's not as great. So he's just putting up the same numbers, but in worse ways. Do you see any teams dropping out, Jade? I know we mentioned that we think it's all set, but if there's anything to fall apart, which team do you think has the possibility to fall apart? Because there's still plenty of time. We're only mid-January.
That's true. I would say if there's an injury on the Rockets, and Harden isn't terribly injury prone, if I remember correctly.
No, he's not.
Right.
But Russell Westbrook, though.
Right. So I think if either of those guys went out to injury, they would take a pretty steep nosedive.
Penny, what do you think with that? Do you think
I agree.
Do you think you have the same thing with that?
Right. And they don't have a young roster, so if one of them falls, they go, they're not going to make the playoffs.
I was talking with my buddy about Houston, and he was talking about some trades, and I'm so happy that Timberwolves did not take that Houston Rockets trade, because Eric Gordon is very, very inefficient this year.
And Gerald Green.
Gerald Green's been out, too, with his broken foot, and
Rivers.
Rivers he's a one-trick pony with his offense. He's rough with defense. But he's been out with injuries periodically this year. PJ Tucker is not what he used to be. He's getting old. He is, it's Rockets. I hope they kind of fall apart, but that's not fair for me to say.
I mean, they're not a well put together roster, I don't think, in terms of playoff potential. Teams that play solid defense and good team basketball are going to pick them apart.
Oh, yeah. You can't be playing iso ball, because especially where they're seeded. Okay, so they're 6th seed right now. So they're going to be playing against the Clippers. You can't do that kind of stuff with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Mm-mm. You can't. And then Patrick Beverley, too? No. You have to be on your top game. You can't just be holding the ball, waiting for something to happen. You got to be moving around. And knowing Doc Rivers' defenses, it's going to be locked down the entire time. So, yeah. Do you see Phoenix doing, since they're still humming around? Do you see Phoenix, what is a piece that Phoenix needs, Jade, to make their push?
Let me have a quick look at their roster.
Take a look at their roster. I know.
I still think part of Phoenix's problem is the inexperience.
Yep.
So it has to be a veteran if they're going to make moves.
Well, they do have a veteran, Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio has been great for them. He's finally in the role that that teams need him is. Mm-hmm. Okay, we need you to pass the ball, and we need you to play defense, which that's what Rubio has done best throughout his entire career.
Right.
Just play defense and pass the ball, very traditional point guard style.
You know what I'm going to say about Phoenix? I don't think they should worry necessarily about the playoffs this year. I think they should just look at last season's record and what they've done so far this year and say, we've made a lot of progress, and think about in the off season what they need to do to take another step next year.
That's a very true. Yeah, because there's these 4 teams that are running in that race. You have old teams in San Antonio and Portland, and then young teams in Memphis and Phoenix. So this is the weird time where you see teams in their decline and teams in their improvement.
Yeah, they're kind of in no man's land, all 4 of them.
Yeah,
going in different directions.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of curious with. Will this be, will we see the Grizzlies and Phoenix in that 7th, 5th, 6th spot, and then see San Antonio in that 10th spot next year? Do you think, okay, so San Antonio's in the playoffs. They're 8th seed, right? Right. So, Penny, do you see them doing a surge to get closer into the playoffs or to separate themselves from Memphis and Portland and Phoenix? Do you see that they're going to do anything dramatic? Do you see DeMar DeRozan going off?
Not necessarily dramatic, but I think they'll get in the playoffs just because of their experience.
Their experience, they think by March they'll separate themselves from the younger teams.
Most definitely, just by the coach. He knows what he's doing, so they'll get in the playoffs.
Coach Papalone, one of my favorite coaches of all time, arguably the best coach. But
you can't beat experience in the NBA.
You can't beat experience and a system like that one. So, do you guys have anything else to add with this playoff race for that 8th seed? Because we're going into All-Star break, so this is where teams are in their win now mode. Okay, we need to crack down, especially right now. So, do you guys have any other final thoughts on this 8th seed race in the Western Conference?
I will just say that my pick of who I would like to see in the 8th spot is the Grizzlies. I still miss Jonas Valanciunas, and that's the entire reason.
I love that guy. He's
right.
He's a solid player. I feel like he's an underrated player.
He's so likable too. He's such a cool guy. He was voted through a series of ballots as Toronto's all-time favorite player.
Really?
Yep. From Raptors Rapture, which is FanSided's Raptors.
Even over Vince and Chris Bosh.
Everyone. Yeah. They went back. They did a series of ballots over a few weeks.
Wow.
And JV won.
Really? Well, good for him. I'm glad that he was a great guy, because I always hoped so. I really wanted him to be a good dude. So, that's fantastic. Okay. Well, and Penny, do you have any closing thoughts on this 8th seed race?
No, I think the Spurs are just going to take it. They're going to take the 8th.
They're going to snag that last spot?
Yep.
Okay. Well then, okay, so now we got that all set. So we've all got the conclusion of 8th seed is going to go to San Antonio. I'm going to give it to San Antonio, too, just because Greg Popovich is my favorite coach. I want Portland. I want to see Portland in my heart because they got Carmelo Anthony and stuff. But this team has not been as functional as usual. I think Terry Stotts is on the hot seat with stuff, so I could see him not having his job by the end of the season, depending on how well they do. So those are my closing thoughts on the main topic. So now we have, now we're going to have our fast break questions of the day. So since we have All-Star game right around the corner with it, we're going to do, our questions today are going to be the All-Star winning pick-ups with it all. So we're going to, since they haven't released all the stuff for it, we could just kind of assume with some of the, with like the dunk contest and 3-point contest, we're going to do a little just guess on that. And then also MVP for the rookie-sophomore game, and then MVP for the All-Star game, since those were just released the other night on TNT. So, fast break question 1, dunk contest. Who do you got, Penny?
Good question. Who's in it?
So we got Derek Jones Jr. has just, which I was assuming you're going to say, assuming him, he accepted. Dwight Howard just accepted. And let me check on the other two with it.
Well, automatically I'm going to say Derek Jones Jr.
I had him too, just from so I have him winning just because even though he just said he was, I still have him winning it all. I'm seeing some people that are in it. Levine is doing it too, unless he says last second he doesn't want to. So just out of those, because I know John Morant.
Out of those three?
Yeah, just out of those three right now. I know it's not the greatest crop, and it's not the ones that's it's not the best guesses right now with it, but where we're at right now, who do you got winning that?
Well, it's definitely Derek Jones Jr.
Okay, yep. That's what I was assuming with.
Yeah. They don't call him Airplane for no reason.
Yeah, he's crazy. Jade, how about you?
I have to go with Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Eric Jones Jr. I've been checking his highlights this year on like Instagram, and oh Lord, he does some crazy stuff. He's got probably at least 3 dunks in the top 20 dunks of the year. I love LaVine, but you can only do so many free throw line dunks. That's just the one thing I have to say. I feel like he's done enough with those.
I will agree with that. I will say, if Aaron Gordon gets back in the slam dunk competition this year, he's my pick.
He needs to. He needs to.
Yeah, he really needs to.
Okay. So, 3-point contest. Not actually seeing too many of those for the 3-point contest yet. I see a Joe Harris from Nets, Trae Young, Luka. He's there. I think we might skip over that one. Probably should have looked more at this one.
Not a good selection.
Yeah. No, exactly. So, let's just go to the All-Star game with it. Okay. Who do you got MVP with it? Penny.
I would say Jimmy Butler, just because he wants to prove to everybody that he deserves to be a starter.
That he deserves to be a starter. Because, yeah, Jimmy's going... I know they only released their starting lineups, but I think for the most part, I think the next 4 or 5 players are set in with it all. Jade, what do you think? I love
Penny's devotion to her home team, but there's
Butler's gonna be MVP.
I mean, if my Timberwolves were doing great, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
You know he's probably mad because he didn't make the starting lineup.
Oh, yeah. especially seeing Trae Young and Kemba Walker in front of him.
You heard it here first. That's so not happening.
Breaking news.
Jade, who do you think's gonna win it?
I think it's gonna be Giannis.
You think it's gonna be Giannis?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's... You think so? I mean, is it just... It's gonna be a lot of 3-pointers. Do you think he's gonna be able to keep up with all that? I see him just going for maybe a couple lob dunks, some blocks, and that's it.
I don't know that it'll be... I think it's gonna be a mix of things.
A mix of things with it? Okay.
If it does come down to the 3, then I go Luka Doncic. I don't think LeBron James is going to play hard enough to be MVP this year. It wouldn't be smart for him to do that.
LeBron's on 80% mode until the playoffs this season. Like, it doesn't look like he's even trying right now. It doesn't.
Well, that's a bit much. But I mean, if LeBron James only 80% trying gets you those stats, most teams in the league would be fine with that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Right.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just when if he's taking the regular season right now, 80%, like, let's think All-Star game, it's going to be like he's going to walk up the court.
Let's just remember this the next time someone says LeBron James doesn't do load management, because he totally does.
Oh, he does. He just does it by, I'm going to cut it a little bit in a game.
Let me just coast a little bit here.
I was going to have my take be Kawhi Leonard for it, but then I realized, he's probably going to take the day off for load management. So, there's my joke for the day. No, but I got to do Luka.
That was a good one.
I got to do Luka. Granted, I'm legit actually wondering if Kawhi will play it. Will he pull like the Jimmy Butler did when he didn't play the All-Star game, even though he made it in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he sat out.
Was that like the year before last year or something?
Yeah, it was the year he was a Timberwolf.
Of course.
Wow, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I tried not to mention that, to try not to bring it back around to that, but
back to Minnesota.
I tried not to, but y'all brought it up from me, so
I forgot about that because I remember thinking, I can't remember who it was that, I think it might have been Lou Williams maybe was the next guy up kind of behind him. And it's kind of like if he'd have said sooner that he didn't want to play, like Lou lives in LA, he could hop in.
That's what made me more mad. Was that he did it like that. Because someone could have used that spot that completely deserved it. And someone
deserved it, absolutely.
Like, that was my issue with it. Sitting out the All-Star game, I know it's a meaningless game when it comes to, like, the grand scheme of the season. But it's always fun for the fans to see all the best players playing as one in just some fun pickup game.
Yeah.
But do you still see it as fun? I don't.
I mean, true.
The last couple of years since they started doing the captains with the picks have been more competitive.
Been better, yeah.
I was just about to say I was just about to do a quick side question. Do we see better defense from them this year, Jay?
Negative.
You don't see any?
No.
Jay, neither no. Guys see a little bit better defense this year?
Some teams are not even playing defense in the games that matter.
Very true. So All-Star game's not going to change.
Zero defense.
It's going to be zero defense with it all.
It's going to be 300 to 320 points.
I was going to say, what's the what is your ballpark range for the, like, how high the game's going to get?
I'm trying to see, what was the score last year?
Probably 100 something?
Like 150, I think. I could be stuff up with it. But it was close to it, like 147.
Yeah.
That's too high.
Right.
I remember when it was the rare days when it would
be it was even higher than that.
156?
What?
178 to 164 last year.
Wow,
yeah, zero defense.
Ballpark. Not
even an effort.
Ballpark.
No.
Like, oh jeez. That's rough. But
so yeah, Team LeBron 178, Team Giannis 164.
Okay, speaking of which, Team Giannis, Team LeBron. Who's gonna win?
Team LeBron again.
Team LeBron by a penny?
No.
Yes.
I think Team Giannis is going to even up.
You think Giannis is going to do it? This is great. This is before teams have been picked, but you got Giannis bringing in the lead. Okay. We got, okay. LeBron. I'm going to go with LeBron.
And I'm hoping to see a preview of the future with Pascal Siakam on Team Giannis.
I'm really happy when I saw him made the starting lineup. That was one of them where I was like, good, he deserves this so much. He deserves that. So
we're pretty excited about it.
Good for him. He deserves that. Spicy P?
Yeah.
Spicy P. Perfect.
Or the spicy one is my preferred.
The spicy one?
The spicy one.
The spicy one. I like that one.
I'm so lost. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Pascal Siakam, his nickname, Spicy P. It's like Swaggy P.
Oh, crap.
Better.
He like also has a hot sauce.
He does?
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Well, that's great. Okay, well, unless Jade or Penny have any other final thoughts on the day, I think we've got this all settled up. We got our takes all together. We'll see who you agree with more. Granted, we don't pick sides. We just pick our own opinion. Okay, well, this is the ending of Hardcourt Honeys. Jade, Penny, give a goodbye.
Bye.
See you later.
Okay, we'll see you next episode. Peace.